Well, I'm gonna continue again with this. I had to stop there for a little bit because the secretary came in and there was some stuff that she had to do. So took a break from her there, but now we're back in it. So I think the last one I answered was from Phil Blake. What was the funniest thing about you responded to as a fireman? And that's basically what I told you. Yeah, I sent someone out to get some cranberry juice from the truck because the poor lady had a bladder infection and was just looking for a ride. That was all. So moving on to the next questions. If you owned your own boat, what would you name it? I have no idea, Phil. Something fire department related, probably. Definitely. Like the big flamer. Make people question it. Ahmed Bokash, what's your favorite thing about being a firefighter? Honestly, my favorite thing about being a firefighter is watching kids, their reactions, and when you're talking to them and teaching them fire safety. When you look overall in our fire calls that we had last year, over 70% of them were medicals. So, a lot of this is the programs that we do through the fire department, they work really well. But that's definitely my favorite part. That and being able to fly through all the traffic lights. I do like doing that too. Ahmed again, Ahmed Bokash. How did you meet Alex? Well, as I mentioned earlier, I'm also a masonry contractor, and I met Alex years and years ago. I was married at the time, and she worked at the tile center, which was a place that I used to go to and buy tile from. And I liked it because she asked questions, and as someone that was working in the tile field, she should know these questions, and I used to answer them. But that's about as far as it went because I was married, and time passed on. I ended up getting divorced, but I'd heard that Alex had moved away. And then a friend of mine, Brett, had told me that, there's someone up at the casino that saw me wearing your D'Aguanno masonry shirt and said that, oh, how is Jif? And I asked, who was it? And they said, her name's Alexandra. And I had no idea. I'm like, I don't know anyone called Alexandra. So I went up to the casino with him a couple of days later. I look and it's Alex. So of course, we hit it off from there. And that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago this year. Hit it off from there. Got married. Then had 2 more children. Too many children as it is. But that's how I met Alex, through the tile center. Good question, Ahmed. I like that one. So if I'm going back and looking, Ahmed Ultimate Bokash, what's a funny story you and your brothers got up to as kids? Man, I don't know where to start. There's a bunch of them that I could go on about. There's a lot of them. I will say, one of my favorite stories was when Tony broke his arm, I think it was. I think he broke his arm and he was in a cast. And he needed to apply for his passport. And back then you had to do it at the post office. I think you still have to do it at the post office. And anyway, the post offices in Holloway were like these huge locked down, you could big thick glass screen, you could only talk to the people behind, and there were very high counters. So I was there with Tony filling out his paperwork and passing it back to the lady, and the lady's looking at me filling out the paperwork, and then she's looking at Tony, and then she's looking at me, and of course she can't see the fact that Tony's hand was broken and he had a cast on it, a big cast all the way up his arm here. She couldn't see that. So she turns to Tony and she says, "Are you illiterate?" And Tony, without even blinking his eyes, looks at her and goes, "No, my mum and dad were married." Which I thought was like best comeback you could ever do. I mean, other than that, there's just stories, there's the usual drunken stories. There's a couple of stories that Tony tried to sneak in the house one night to try and, not wake my mum up, and I almost took his head off with a friggin' hurley bat. I didn't know it was him. I thought it was someone breaking in the house. Just about to let him have it, and I saw his stupid big head come through the door, and luckily I recognized his ugly bonce, and that was the only reason that I didn't take it out. Um, for me, I mean, I've got tons of stories, all of them. Coming to America, Tony getting drunk in a bar and then leaving the bar, and then however the heck he called me, but he got hold of me. And that was an amazing accomplishment in itself, just to get hold of me. So, getting drunk at the airport and pretending that we didn't know anyone. There's always a lot of alcohol involved in these stories. What's my biggest achievement that I am proudest of? Ahmet again. That's my family, Ahmet. My wife and my family. There's nothing that makes me more proud than those guys. Ahmed again, what inspired you and Alex to do chili challenges? Well, I always did the challenges. Me and my brother Tony, we D'Aguanno's Fiery Foods, we've had that for a while. Curries, like I love fowl curry. Hard to get here, but I mean, it's in England they're really easy to get and they're beautiful. And a fowl curry is probably one of the hottest curries you can get. And it's like you just want to eat it hotter. It burns so much, but it doesn't really burn while you're eating it. But once you stop eating it, the burn comes so much that you crave more of it. So it's most of what inspired Alex was me doing these challenges and doing them on Nuke and doing that. Alex enjoyed watching those, and so I think she participated and did the Chug challenge, which I thought she did fantastic in that. She really did. And fair play to her on the Moog challenge. She got half of the bar down, and I'm pretty sure she's going to give it another go, but this time she's not going to eat beforehand. But like I say, watching me being involved with Nuke is what let Alex get more involved in doing these challenges. Stu Walker, why are you so very shy and quiet, or are you just a very private person? Nobody has ever called me shy and quiet, but thank you. But if it's probably because I'm not posting, it's mostly because of work, especially with COVID right now. The town, I look out, it's empty. Normally there's always people around and it's just absolutely empty. We can't gather. Our meetings have been cancelled, our trainings have been cancelled. The way that we respond has changed, how we go to people's houses. There's a lot of stuff, but I'm definitely not shy and I'm definitely not quiet still. Stu Walker again, what made you so positive and outgoing? Is it because you have a shy persona deep within? Probably. Right in here I got this super shy persona. No, I'm not a shy guy. Stu Walker, can you do the splits? Show us. No, I can't do. I can do the splits on my fingers, barely. But no, I can't do the splits, man. What's the matter with you? There's no way. Stu Walker, can you impersonate any UK members and show us? You're stealing my questions. I can do one. How about, hey up all, Grandpa Nuke Stu here with any UK. I want all you lot to do some videos so we don't have to do it. That's probably the best one I can get. I can do a good James Nixon one. Everyone does the James Nixon one, but my James Nixon one is like this. My James Nixon. Luciano Ferson, can you say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? So if Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? I don't know if I can say that, but I'll give it a go. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? I can do that one. That one's all good. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells that she sells are seashells, I'm sure. I'm good at those. Stu Walker, you have an amazing voice. Can you sing? I can, but not too good. But I can play guitar. Stu Walker, what do you fear and why? Again, the only thing that I fear is anyone hurting my family. I fear for their safety if anyone wants to hurt my family. But, most of my fears are all family based. I care a lot about my family. I care about my friends. And that's about, that's the extent of it. Stu Walker, can you recite the alphabet backwards? You're going to regret that one because I can. Z Y X W V U T S R Q P O N M L K J I H G F E D C B A. Yo! I can do that. We learned it to do it years ago. It's one of those stupid things that you don't forget. I'm going to try it again. Z Y X W V U T S R Q P O N M L K J I H G F E D C B A. That's the one. Stu Walker, if you were called out to rescue a beautiful woman in a bath with her toe stuck in the tap, would you have a sneaky peek? No, but it would end up happening anyway. Half the time we try and cover them up as best as we can. Most of the time, these people are in a bad situation when they're calling us, so the last thing that they're worried about is their dignity. Most of the time it's us that will either wrap them, cover them with a blanket. If they're stuck in a bath, then we always ask if their bra, especially if they're a woman, for the bra on the top of it. Here's an interesting story, seeing as you ask that one. I had to put an AED, a defibrillator, on an older lady that we went to for a cardiac call. And, there's two pads. First put heads here. So I went to put the second pad, which goes right underneath. And I had to ask, I'm so sorry, but I have to lift your boobie up. And I had to grab her boobie and just pick it up so I could put the pad on. But like I said, she was 90-something years old. It's not like I went back and bragged about that afterwards. Stu Walker, are you analysing us from the questions we're asking, or have you only drawn conclusions from our questions? I've drawn conclusions about you lot. You lot are a bunch of freaking crazy. And I love you all. Tracy Lola Mathis, my cousin, my Australian cousin. What does glitter smell like? It smells like crap, to tell you the truth, and I only know because I got glitter bombed one time and it went up my nose and I spent ages trying to wash that stuff out of there. But it smells like plastic. That's what it smells like. Tracy Lola Mathers again. What do rainbow taste like, Teddy? Rainbows taste like unicorn crap. That's what they taste like. Casper Den Uden. Why do you have a cleaning product as your second name? I don't. That's my nickname. And I guess it could be called a cleaning product. In England, I guess it is, but it's also lemon juice for pancakes. I always remember that. Shrove Tuesday, Jif Lemon Squeeze. My name came about because my name is pretty long. It's Giovanni Antonio Marino Patrizio D'Aguanno. Irish mother, Italian father, born in England. Lived in Italy until I was 12, 13, and then moved back to London. Lived in London after that. When I came back to London, most of these kids, they're like, what's your name? And you're like, Giovanni. And they go like, Giovanni. And I'm like, no, it's Giovanni. Joe. I think Giovanni, like that. Half of them would go, Jif. And they couldn't even say it. Jif kind of stuck. And that's the main part of it. Ooh, Irina Ligierski, she got in there pretty quick. I think she's the last question. Did you inherit any Irishisms from your mother's side of the family? I inherited them all, Irene. Every single one of them. My other brother and my sister, they tan like crazy. They take after the Mediterranean side. They've got dark hair. Me, on the other hand, I don't take after that side. I take after the Irish side, and my brother James takes after the Irish side. Him and I are pretty much similar. We're tall, very fair, light-headed, whereas, you know, my brother slightly and my sister darker complexion, more olive. They tan like crazy, and we don't. We burn. We like turn into Sebastian from The Little Mermaid, little orange friggin' red burning piece of flesh. So other than that, the other Irish stuff, I like to drink, but I've got to keep it in moderation now. There was a lot of things that I used to hate at the time that my mother used to play Irish music. At the time, I friggin' hated it. But you know, when you get older, now it's nostalgic. You're like, oh, I remember my mother used to play the heck out of that when I was a kid, and you really, you find yourself listening to it. I hated the smell of bacon and cabbage. Every time, you know, I'd come to, we lived on Laser Walk, and every time I just turned the corner and get on Laser Walk, I could smell that bacon and cabbage, and I knew that. And I hated it. I don't know why. I mean, I like cabbage, but it was just the smell, and my mum used to love that stuff. But anyway, I think that's all of the questions. I've answered all of the questions that have come on there while I'm here. I do have my NEUK shirt on, just so you can see. Where is it? Oh, right there. I do have my NEUK shirt on. This has been Jif D'Aguanno for NEUK. Meet the team, meet the mods. Jemal is next. I know you lot don't know how to say it, and you're always calling him Jim. Jem, like Jamal. Jim. That's how it's done. He's up next, so he will put up a post. And I've got a ton of questions to ask him too. I'm glad that only Stu was the ones that was asking my silly type of questions. A few from Chris House, I enjoyed those too. But overall, thank you very much, guys. I will talk to you all later, and bye.